What's the fastest you've ever gone from caring about someone to straight up loathing them? When I was younger, I found out one of my childhood friends was stealing from me and the friendship group. Every so often we would lose a phone or iPod, then said friend would have conveniently got the same model but beat it up a bit with his initials in type X or something stupid. Being a good friend, we didn't want to believe it, but we started putting distinct markings on our items. Lo and behold, my phone goes missing and he turns up with the same one a few weeks later with the markings. We brought him up on it, but he just lost his temper and stormed off. 15 years later he's in prison for armed robbery. We had a friend in our circle who did this with jewelry. She would take cheap things. For example, in the 80s everyone had these stud earrings in the shape of strawberries or ladybugs. Anyway, when you're 10 and someone steals your strawberry earrings, everyone just thinks you lost them. Including you. Fast forward a few years and all of the moms start missing things. Class ring and other things that were sitting in jewelry boxes for a long time. Our friend is caught by one of the moms wearing her grandmother's antique engagement ring. Thief's mom is called and her stash is fully discovered. She had stolen so much that it's hard to describe it all. I saw a huge pile of junk/kids jewelry, interlaced with actual nice mom jewelry. Most everything I had lost over the years was there. It was shocking and heartbreaking. I'm not sure if charges were filed, but she was sent to some reform school. 25-ish years later she pops up on Facebook. She's into MLM. An MLM is a multi-level marketing scheme, like Amway, which is essentially a scam for bored housewives. A former friend bailed on me when we were supposed to hang out, and so I called my then girlfriend to see what she was doing, and I could hear him talking to her parents in the background. As fast as it took for his wife to call me at work to tell me that he was not only married, but had 3 children including a newborn. Talking to my then GF about her cheating on me. Explaining I couldn't ever possibly trust her again, and she replied, "But do you really need to trust me?" Clearly had different ideas on what's required for a healthy relationship. Edit, for context. Relationship was 6 years long. We had been talking about marriage. We owned a dog together. This was the second instance of cheating. This conversation was what pushed me over the edge into the territory of self-respect. Broke up with her the next day. Much happier since. I have a 2-for-1 deal here, walking in on my now ex-boyfriend having sex with my ex-best friend in my own room on my birthday party. Since that's a lot of comments to reply to individually, I'm very sorry. Here are some frequently asked questions answered. It was my 19th birthday. I did throw the bed out afterwards just because it reminded me of it daily. When I walked in, I was shocked, told him that it's over, kicked both of them out into 2 degrees Celsius weather while they were still half naked, and then did tequila shots with my other, non-asshole friends. I don't know what happened to them, but I really don't care. It took some time to trust people again, but I'm much better now. One summer back in high school years, I had a crush on this girl and we'd hang out when we weren't working together. A friend of mine would keep insisting that I should just ask her out. So I mustered my courage and asked her out. Yeah, it was a glorious failure. I still remember when she smiled and told me the truth. That was when I found out that they had been secretly dating for a year and thought it would be a lark to just fuck with me. 100-0 in a few words and a vicious smile. A friend at a bar tells some people we just met how her mother died. Later in the night I express my sympathy. Now she's without parents. She told me hush hush a few years prior about how father had passed. Wait, did I tell you back then my dad died? I thought I told you it was my mum. No, both my parents are still alive. When we were in uni I just read in a book telling people a parent has died is a good way to get sympathy. Ha ha. Fucking sociopath. I loved, still love, playing Pokemon and I had no female friends with the same interest. Found out about this group of guys that played it after school. Got really excited and made plans with them. I waited for hours and they never showed up. Next day I overhear my best childhood friend laughing about how annoying I was and that they had to hide from me to play in peace. That really hurt. My ex-girlfriend. We were childhood sweethearts. Dated from 17 to 25. Found out she was cheating on me with her boss, who was more than twice our age. Then proceeded to find out there were many more occurrences and she was a very different person than the person I'd been dating. Shattered. 1 year friendship with this girl. I invited her over to my new apartment. She came over and wanted to gossip about her coworkers. When she paused, I tried to add into the conversation, make a joke, give reassurance, add a comment, etc., but she would immediately raise her voice and start talking over me. I kept getting angrier every time it happened until I was actually loathing her internally. She was so self-absorbed that she didn't notice I went from smiling and engaged to frowning while staring off into space. After 2+ hours of not being allowed to talk, I made up an excuse to kick her out of the apartment and then vowed to never see her again. The first girl I ever dated died unexpectedly on my then current GF and my 3-year anniversary. My then GF stated she was pissed because my ex had died on purpose that day because it was our anniversary. I was utterly disgusted and it completely changed how I viewed her altogether. Things fell apart shortly after and we broke up. My best friend back in school got an F from the teacher. Me and him asked if we could go to the toilet. I go to the toilet to text a bit with friends from other schools. He goes to the parking lot and scratches the teacher's car. School break and the teacher finds his car. We both get called to the director etc. etc. Friend said that we both scratched the car. He showed the teacher my phone to show him I was texting and couldn't have scratches his car, told friend to fuck off and went out. My, at the time girlfriend, had a little sister. She was graduating from college, and her college was not close by. It was a few states away, and at least a 5 hours drive. We both loved the sister, but we weren't going to make it to her graduation. We couldn't afford a hotel for the weekend, and we couldn't take off from work to get there on time. She freaked out on us. It was the biggest tantrum I've seen an adult make. My GF and I both assumed it wasn't that big of a deal, but seeing how much her sister freaked out, we re-evaluated the situation. So, we packed up quickly, and drove through the night to get there. She told us we could sleep in her apartment that night, but that we'd need to get a hotel the following night. That was fine. We found something online for like $100 a night. We got to her place in record time. It was not even midnight. We felt like heroes for making up so quickly. We get to her apartment, and she won't let us in. She says she's already in bed, and we should have gotten there earlier if we wanted to take her up on her offer. So, we're both exhausted, and we have nowhere to stay. I wanted to just turn around and go back home, but my GF was a better person than me. Luckily we had other friends in the city, and one was nice enough to give us their couches for the night. It's been like 15 years, and I assume the sister was getting one last lay with a college hookup, because I could not imagine any other scenario where she couldn't simply walk down 2 flights of stairs to open the door for us. I ended up marrying the GF, and still bring up this situation anytime she gets in a fight with her sister. It's usually I can't believe how selfish my sister is being. And I go, you can't? Remember that time we drove to her college gra? And she cut me off. Of course she also remembers it. Co-worker had a dog who she let run free on her property. Said dog liked to chase cars. So it was only a matter of time, and the dog was hit. Dog couldn't walk for 2 days, was dragging herself around for days after that. We told her to bring her to the vet, and she refused, because it was too expensive. We pulled together the money and told her, bring your damn dog to the vet. And she did. The dog's bones in her legs and pelvis were shattered and the dog had no chance of recovering. Co-worker finally let the poor thing die peacefully. So anyhow, it was $50 to put this dog to sleep. And since then, every time my co-worker spends money on something frivolous and shows us novelty socks, collectibles, an expensive cake, another fucking pet, I think about how she decided bringing comfort to a dying animal wasn't worth paying for.